I'm Charlotte Dawson, I'm part of the Sculpture Network and I'm based in Sheffield. Collecting's quite a big part of my practice, so in the process building up to making a work, there's a lot of collecting imagery and narratives and also materials. So I'll start to notice what I'm being drawn to, and then that kind of builds into a sculpture or into any other works. I'm interested in building a series of things, and I think that comes from that process of having multiple influences and it not just being myself. It's also other people's objects, other people's languages around objects, other people's memories, and mine as well, and that kind of universality of some objects, kind of souvenirship, how that's a personal thing but also a universal element of existing as humans, and objects exist around us and have meanings that other people put on them naturally. And then in terms of an art process, that's also something that artists do as well, and I'm interested in that crossover of a personal thing that also links into a sculpture, and something that might seem completely irrelevant but the material brings that in, and something that I can feed into the work and give it a bit more than what was there before. My work Here There, which is the most recent body of work I've made, was about plates as an object that have an intended function. They're meant to be functional, and people diverge from that. The design of some traditional plates is too ornate for them to be used to serve food, and so that's kind of the basis of the work. And then I wanted to explore my own personal things with plates, and imagery maybe around certain environments, kind of how plates are displayed maybe in pubs, on shelves near the ceiling, and that kind of maybe class imagery as well is in there, and Britishness as well. And the residency that I made the plates for was at Abingdon Studios in Blackpool, so it felt like they had a very tight relationship to that idea of British seaside as well. So there's a connection with those kind of spaces, and then the plates as objects. So this is off of wholesale sausage box kind of packaging, so this is the imagery that was used on those boxes. So kind of taking the imagery of lower kind of quality foods or things that maybe aren't used as giving a heightened experience, and then putting them on plates to give them this heightened worth. Mainly I produce works with the envisioning there's going to be a body of work. I don't as often make singular pieces, and maybe those feel slightly tangents from my practice, but in terms of creating work, I create series, and that tends to be for an exhibition or for an imagined exhibition, even if the opportunity is not there. And so sometimes that's from residencies, and that's where the pieces are maybe slightly less personal because I've got the context of a residency to consider. In my work sometimes there's things maybe that are slightly unresolved, and maybe that embroidery is a part of that. So it's something that I took up doing in lockdown because I couldn't have access to my studio safely, and it's something that I could do at home, and I had the time to dedicate the hours to it. So this is a piece, and they're all sculptural elements. So there's these jesmonite kind of flies, because I was interested in that traditional thing of cross stitch being framed, and then having those flies that get in between the glass and the fabric, and also that element of decay kind of in there. So they're attached as pins on the back. Yeah, this is the floor of Sheffield bus station, and it was broken, so they just taped a section the tiles back together. And then this one is a supermarket floor, so it's the terrazzo kind of tiles, and then this one's a grate. And it's also got the beginnings of the work where I was exploring marker posts. It's got the kind of beginnings of that, where I was looking at the spray painted marks of workers. So this is kind of the start of that.